Oh, Vicky Maria, so bright, so bright. Your YouTube world is the purest gold. With every video fresh and new, you light my days with joy so true. Oh, Vicky Maria, your voice, your charm, your spark, your flair, keep me glued beyond compare. From laughs to lessons, all you share. No other channel shines so rare. The comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you, for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game. The comments buzz, your fans agree. Thanks from me to you, for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you won the game. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game.
Oh my God. Hello, it's me, Vicky Marie. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in this crazy world we're living in. So much to say that I don't know what to say first. But first of all, of course, thank you. Now I'm going to need to add to my thanks, as according to the banner, thanks all for watching, liking, subscribing, being members, buying Ko-fis, PayPaling, or sending super chats. All the lovely things you do to support my channel. Thank you for your lovely emails. Thank you for supporting my guests the other night. Thank you for the nice comments you left about that live. Thank you for everything that you do. But now, of course, people do more than that. Some of my members, some of my subscribers, I've had dolls made of me. I'm going to show a little video of the dolls that have been made of me, but I haven't even finished doing that yet. They're not all on there yet. I've only got halfway through that. And then this lovely song that somebody sent me. And honest to God, I just love it. I love the tune. I mean, obviously, it's the narcissist in me that loves the words. But it wasn't me who wrote it. If somebody sent this in, it's totally beyond my capabilities, that of making a song. But it's the beat, you know, and all of it. It's just lovely. It's sort of positive. It's upbeat. And I've sort of sat on it since Friday, really. But I've been waiting for a time when I could play it where it would be positive, you know, in a positive. It doesn't seem appropriate to play a song sort of talking about me when we're talking about water safety, or we're talking about a true crime case or something that's happened in the world. And I've been dying for today to, play you this song. I'm going to play it you again. In fact, I might even sing along to it in a minute. Sorry about that. Just give you some warning. And I think what I'm going to have to do is make a dance to it and, you know, just make the most of it. I'm so pleased. Thank you so much. I don't know if that person's in the chat or it'll be in the chat later. Replay. Oh, hello, of course, to everybody who's watching on Replay Crew. Or if you're a lurker, hello. Don't be scared to come into the chat, or just say hello if nothing else. But thank you all for watching. So yeah, if the person who wrote that song, who made that song and sent it in to me wants to say who they are, I won't say who they are because they might not want me to. I just don't know. So, but thank you. They know that I love it. I've been dying to play it. I'm going to play it again in a moment. And as I say, I might even sing to it. So let me just take my banners off. So, and as I say, I think, I'm not a large sort of YouTube channel. I've got the 2 channels, of course. I've got 2 channels, and in total, in the 2 channels that I have, I've got probably over 7,000 subscribers. I don't know. I won't say I've never added it up. I haven't added it up recently. I think I've got 5,000 on this channel, 4,000 something on this channel, and nearly 3,000 on the other channel. So yeah, about 7,000 altogether. And then there's TikTok as well. So we haven't got loads on TikTok. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is I'm not a massive YouTube channel but the interaction that I get, the community that we've built together, we've all built together. I want to thank you all that are in this community for how nice you are to each other, how supportive you are of each other. As you know, anyone who's not supportive, they don't last very long. This community is about supporting each other through all sorts of things, sharing public outrage about true crime, obviously, and things that happen in the world, but also supporting each other in our little things that we have going on, which reminds me, because as I say, I've got that many things to do, I'm going to forget things. So I want to light the candle. And the candle I'm lighting is for all of us today. On this Sunday service, we try and chat a bit of positivity, say a few prayers for those of us, who are having some difficulties, whatever they are. And, some difficulties, some problems that we have are worse than others, but they're all important to us. It doesn't matter what your problem is. Could be a health problem. It could be. We're going to talk about health problems today. Physical health problems. Could be a mental health problem. Could be a problem with a member of your family. It could be bereavement. It could be the loss of a pet. It could be pets ill. It could be financial. There's so many problems we might experience in this life. It's a challenge sometimes getting up in the morning and putting one foot in front of the other. And this really candle is for all of us that do that. No matter what the problems are, we do it for other people, or we carry on because we have to, because we have no choice. This is what who this candle is for. All of us who just, carry on in the face of adversity, whatever the situation. And we all deserve some positive thoughts, some vibes, a candle lighting for us, just appreciation as well for what people do. Not big things that people do, little things that people do. Just even being nice to people in general. Is something, if you can make one person's day better in whatever small way, that's massive, really, isn't it? In the scale of things, you just don't know, do you? And listen, I'm not perfect. I do lots of things that I think afterwards, I shouldn't have, road rage mainly. Shouldn't have done that later. I think later, I shouldn't have done that. Maybe shouldn't have shouted WANKER out the window. But, just did it in the moment. So there's lots of things, but, of course, a nice thing you can do is smile at someone. And, and sometimes it's difficult to do that. Sometimes we don't feel like smiling. Sometimes we've had enough with whatever's going on in our lives, and what somebody else says to us in the supermarket just sets us off, doesn't it? It's like the icing on the cake, and it all comes out. And then we think, oh, God, I've just got into a row with a complete stranger. Why? These sort of things. You all know what I mean. I'm sure you've all done it. I think you'd have to be pretty much a saint if you'd never lost your temper or never sort of got irritated by silly things that people do. But normally when you get irritated about little things, it's because there's bigger things going on in your life, isn't it? If your life's all hunky-dory and you don't get irritated by little things that people do. I think sometimes you're just struggling so much with other things, as I say, all those other reasons that it might be, that somebody doing one little thing just sort of sparks you off, doesn't it? Anyway, the other person that this candle is especially for is my daddy, because yesterday I didn't get around to do, I just didn't get around to doing a video later on yesterday. In the morning, I did a live about Virginia Giuffre. I always pronounce her name wrong. I just feel awful about that. And that didn't seem appropriate to talk about my dad, it was his heavenly birthday yesterday. So I just want to light that candle. That candle is for him too. Just want to show a photo of him, a blurry photo of him and me years ago. He was a very handsome man when he was young and when he was older, to be honest. You know, Stanley. And he wouldn't like me showing these photos. He was a very private man, so I've got to be aware. He would not have liked me showing photos. I don't know if he would. Maybe he would. I don't know. Of course, he never knew about the internet age at all. You know, he died in 1999. Didn't quite make it to the year 2000. He was 75 years old. He had a heart attack because he was looking after my mum, who had dementia. And he was, you know, this Gene Hackman and Betty Hackman story has really rung a bell with me, because that was what my dad was trying to do it all himself, look after my mum. And he paid for it by having a heart attack, if you like. And one thing I'm very grateful of is, because I came to live in Spain, I do have letters from him that he sent me. So I do, you know, I find them very special, because if I wouldn't have come to live in Spain, there would have been no reason for him to write to me. You know, he's a real technophobe. And at the time when I first came to Spain, I'd only been in Spain 2 years when my dad died. You know, the phones weren't brilliant then. We didn't have Zoom or, you know, Messenger or whatever. People, you know, you can virtually video call on all those social media forums now. We didn't have WhatsApp. You know, we used to have these phone calls where I'd be sort of hanging off the edge of the sunroof in the place where I lived, because that was the only way you could get a signal. You know, we had radio phones that were rubbish. You know, so communication was a problem. So we used to communicate by letter. So and I'm grateful for that now, because I do have these letters that I wouldn't have had otherwise. So happy heavenly birthday for yesterday for my daddy, Stanley Riley. Bless him. Yeah, maybe he would have quite liked it. He certainly would have liked the Sunday service idea. My dad was a Catholic, not a practicing Catholic. He and my mum came from an era, because my mum was Protestant. They came from an era where Catholics didn't go out with Protestants, not even in Manchester, never mind in Ireland. I think Manchester, you know, when I think about it now, because so many Irish people came over to live in Manchester, you know, we have a special understanding. And of course, my dad was Irish descent. So, you know, I just remember this. Anyway, there was a big fuss when my dad married my mum. You can imagine at the time when it was, not only because she was a Protestant, but also his family thought she was a bit of a floozy, because when my dad was in the war, and when he was serving in the war, my mum was 5 years younger than him, I think, and she was having a great time in the meantime at home, going out with GIs and doing the sort of things that young girls did in that time. And while my dad was at war, they hadn't met. I mean, they hadn't even met then. They got married when she was 19, and I suppose he was about 24. But the thing is, when he came home from the war, they lived next door to each other, but they'd never met until he came home from the war. So, but his parents, who were very strict Catholics, very puritanical Catholics, you know, didn't really know what to make of my mum, who was a bit more sort of free and easy, if you like, or normal, or whatever way you want to put it. So they didn't like her because they'd seen her going out with GIs and kissing them at the door because they lived next door in a terrace street. You know, you couldn't do things without people knowing what you were doing. So when my dad started going out, when my mum and dad started going out together, not only the religious divide, but also the fact that they thought my mum was a bit of a wrong 'un because she'd gone out with these Americans and things. So, you know, it was a bit, you know, but I could do a video on that. I could write a book on that because although they did get married, because in a way, in the old fashioned way, they had to get married because my mum was actually pregnant by then. Though that wouldn't have gone down well either, as you can imagine. They did get married. They were married, you know, they went through bad times, but they were married for over 50 years, you know, and they stuck together right till the end. They were that generation who did stick together, even though they separated a couple of times, or once in particular that I know of, but they stuck together. And, you know, I think that their relationship, they did love each other, but they went through problems, as everybody does. So I'm waffling again, aren't I? I'm waffling again. But so, yeah, yesterday my dad was 75 when he died, which is quite young, isn't it, in today's terms? But as I say, I think it was the stress of looking after my mum, trying to do it himself, because he was that generation. He was so proud, he didn't want to ask for help, not even from his own family. And the only reason I even know he had problems is because of the letters that he wrote me. I know he didn't tell anybody else. You know, I have 4 siblings. They weren't told about the problems that he was having. He was too proud. Anyway, so happy heavenly birthday to my dad. And yeah, him and my mum, they're together again now. I'm 100% certain that they are. And yeah. Okay, so right, so that's one thing. I should have written a list, because if I don't write a list, I forget everything, don't I? So let me say hello to the people that are actually brave enough to venture into chat now. Hi, Sheep Farming, thank you so much. Hi, David. Hi, Bluebell. Hi, my angel. Hi, Annie. You're all chatting in chat, which is brilliant. Okay. Oh, thank you. Happy birthday to Stanley. Yeah. So let's have a look at this song again. So this song that was sent to me. Oh my God. I was just over the moon. As I say, I haven't shown it yet because I've, you know, and I've had it a couple of days and I've been sort of dying to show it, but it just hasn't been the right time. Yeah, you're right, David. You have to ask for help. You can't do. I mean, I'm the world's worst. I'm a very proud person. I think I take after my dad a lot. Try and do things on my own. And sometimes you just can't. And a couple of years ago, I came up against a particular problem that I, you know, nearly broke me, to be honest. And in the end, I did ask for help. And it did get better from there. So it's true. However proud you are, however much you don't want to ask for help, sometimes you just can't. Just make sure you ask the right person for help. I think sometimes you're better asking, rather than a family member or a friend, you know, ask the professionals. You know, this particular problem that I had a few years ago, I actually broke down one day in class about, you know, I was actually teaching and I just broke down. And one of my students, who had become a friend as well, we were going off somewhere after class to do something, and they said to me, what the hell's going on? And I told them. And I never forget this. And this student said to me, when I decided I was going to learn Spanish, I didn't try and do it on my own. I looked for a professional to teach me Spanish. And that was you. You're a professional in teaching Spanish. So why are you trying to do something on your own that you need a professional for? You know, you're a Spanish teacher. You don't know about the other stuff. So look for a professional. And, you know, that was a life-changing moment for me, believe me. a life-changing moment, you try and deal with things. And not only it's hard to deal with things on your own, but you don't understand those situations. You're not trained in doing that. Just because you can teach Spanish doesn't mean to say you can, I don't know, fix a toilet or whatever it is. But, you know, something, it wasn't that. Obviously, it's much more important than that. But it's true. You can't try and deal with things when you're not the professional in that. Same happened with my sister-in-law when my brother was ill with dementia, and she was trying to do it all on her own. And in the end, it was sort of fortunate, really. I mean, it sounds ridiculous, but it was fortunate that he fell out of bed and he had to be taken to hospital. He was always wandering around the house. And anyway, to cut a long story short, where he was finally taken into a home, and she didn't want him to be put in a home. But they said to her, we need a 24-hour team to look after your husband. We can't look after him on our own. 24-hour, he needs 24-hour care of at least 2 people. You should not have been trying to do it on your own. And this is it. And it's difficult, isn't it? But this is the facts of life. Professionals are called that for a reason. What they're trained to do, let them do it. You cannot do it all. You can't do it all. Okay, so let's go back to this song. Hi, Yvonne. Overslept? Okay, let's have another look at this song again.
Oh, Vicky Maria, so bright, so bright. Your YouTube world is the purest gold. With every video fresh and new, you light my days with joy so true. Oh, Vicky Maria, your voice, your charm, your spark, your flair, keep me glued beyond compare. From laughs to lessons, all you share. No other channel shines so rare. The comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you, for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game. The comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you, for all the fun and wisdom too. Keep creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you won the game. Creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game.
Oh my God, I'll tell you what, and the more I listen to it, the more I like it. I love the beat, I love the tune, I love the words. Anyway, I'm going to sort of mess around with it a little bit, probably put it to, you know, at the moment, that was just the words. But yeah, put it to a proper video, maybe combine it with the dolls. I don't know. Oh, I just feel very honoured, honestly. And, you know, that certainly helped my positivity this week. Although, you know, I don't think anyone realizes how much, for me as a creator, how much it means when someone does something like that. Just as much as it can knock you down when someone says something horrible to you, or, you know, does something horrible. but the way that it makes you feel when someone does something nice, or even just leaves a nice comment or sends an email to say thank you. And obviously the other things like the super stickers and PayPals and stuff and the Ko-fis, which are like, but it's not only about the financial aspect of it. It's all that. It's like a confirmation that what you're doing people are enjoying, because sometimes you do go through times where you think, oh God, is anyone watching? Does anyone care? Would it matter if I ever did another video again? I don't feel like doing another video. Maybe, sometimes I get a bit down, like with the true crime, and it can get heavy, and you think, oh God, what am I doing? And then it's those kind of things that make you realize why you're doing it. And people do appreciate what you're doing, and you are doing the right thing, not the wrong thing, because you're always questioning, especially with true crime, as I say. Am I doing the right thing in talking about this case? Maybe I shouldn't talk about it. Should I talk about it? So you've got in a constant conundrum about everything, just like life in general, really. So those sort of things really help. Oh, it's so nice. Thank you, Yvonne. Thank you. So I'm going to show the dolls now. So, of course, the other thing was I haven't, and as I said, these are not even all the dolls that were made of me. It's just so far that I've got in the video. I just want to show you that. So that's another thing that makes me feel good, because I love dolls, because I realise I'm a child who's never grown up, but also I am like a girly girl who loves dolls. And the fact, remember I put that thing out saying, oh, can anyone do one of the, these sort of AI dolls or whatever you call them. Now, I don't want a horrible one. I'm sure someone somewhere in YouTube land, maybe somebody else made horrible songs or dolls or whatever about me. I don't care about them. I only care about the nice ones. So let's have a look at this. Yeah, so as I say, I haven't even got around to making the whole video of the dolls yet. And then, of course, there are the dolls' houses. And so I might do a selection of things from the dolls' houses as well. I'm going to make, a longer video about it. But that's just what I've had time to do so far. And yeah, again, that's just... I wish I could, those dolls like the Bratz doll. Let's just have a closer look and I'll tell you what my favourites are. Hang on. This one I can actually pause. So, yeah. So I love this. I love all of them, to be honest. So they've all got something new. Oh, I wanted to stop it there. They've all got something unique that I like about them. So, oh gosh. So I like this one because it's got makeup in here. Makeup is another of my, oh God, why does it? Makeup is another of my favourite things. I love makeup. I think it's the Manchester girl in me. I just love makeup. I always have done. And I think I remember years ago when I was about 18, 19, when I worked at Lewis's in Manchester, one of the girls that we all used to go out after work. There was loads of us used to go out, girls and boys, men and women. And some of the girls from the makeup counters, and I never forget one of them saying to me, "Oh, you've got a Revlon face." Now, I took it as a compliment. I hope it was a compliment. And yeah, I love experimenting with makeup. It's something that I don't do as much now as I've got older, but I'm going to get back into that. The other thing about living in Spain is, of course, in the summer it's so hot, the makeup just sort of slides down your face. So you're struggling for what, but I love makeup, and I don't, I don't apologize for it. When I see people, they say, "Oh, they've got too much makeup on." In my opinion, you can never have too much makeup. No, you can. I mean, you can have too much. Of course, you can. But sometimes people who look like they've got no makeup on whatsoever, they've got actually loads of makeup on, but in a discreet way. And as you get older, I think you can't wear the same dark, dramatic makeup that when I was young. God, my makeup matched my outfit. So if I was wearing yellow, my eyeshadow was yellow, blue, whatever. I had colours. Of course, that was like the 80s, and was the fashion then. That's probably a reason why I love makeup as well. In the 80s, makeup, not only for men but for women, it's not a new thing, all this sort of gender fluidity or whatever. The way people sort of claim it as if nobody's ever done anything like that before. I mean, I'm from the era when I'd never forget the fuss that it caused when Boy George appeared on Top of the Pops for the first time. Everyone was talking about it. So he had the full makeup on. He was dressed sort of, where you couldn't, was he a boy? Is it a boy? Is it a girl? Is it a man? Is it a woman? And, it was a big thing, but not talked about didn't matter. It's hard to explain, really. Sometimes I think there's too much fuss made these days. New Romantics, the New Romantics, Duran Duran, Human League, they all wore makeup. The men all wore makeup. And it wasn't a big thing, it was nice. It was, men look nice in makeup. Why shouldn't a man wear makeup if he wants to? Anyway, do you know what I mean? So I just think sometimes there's a bit too much fuss made of it all, like it's some big new thing. It was always going on. It's just that people didn't make a great big issue of it. So I love a bit of makeup. I'm thinking one day I might do a video. I'll probably do it for my members because I won't want it to go out to the whole world. Where I get up in the morning and show you my makeup routine. Because obviously when I wake up in the morning, you wouldn't really want to see me at all. It's not the prettiest sight, let's say. I'm not saying I'm the prettiest sight now. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying now I just look, acceptable. But when I wake up in the morning, it's like, good job my dogs love me. You know what I mean? It's like they don't care what I look like. So, yeah, maybe show that. And then my makeup routine, which is literally, don't want you to think I spend 2 hours putting makeup on. I don't. Maybe 15 minutes. Depends. Some mornings I don't even spend 15 minutes some mornings. Depends. Sometimes I feel like going for the full makeup. Sometimes I don't. But so that's why I love this doll, because apart from the fact it's given me this fantastic figure and these long legs, which is just nothing like me, I like the makeup. Now this has got all the accessories, hasn't it? Is this the Barbie one? Does that say Barbie? I don't know. But yeah, again, I love this because you've got the articulated arms. You've got all the accessories. You've even got the coffee and the mobile. And I love it. I love it. I would love to be able to literally actually buy these dolls. I think this is sort of one of my favourites because it's nothing like me. This is probably maybe what I might have looked like when I was 20, and but I never did. But yeah, the Bratz one, I do like that. I mean, that's beautiful, isn't it? It's nothing like me, but it's just a lovely doll. And then this one's probably a bit more like me, with a bit more, a bit more, the dumpy sort of figure. Yeah, I love that as well. It's just, I don't know, just, I like the eyes on it, the hair. And yeah, that's probably a little bit more realistically like my figure. And that one as well. And I love this one because I think this is one by the lady who does the dolls' houses and that. And I love this because of those two ponytails at the top there. I quite often do my hair like that. Sometimes I don't like to because I think I'm too old to do my hair like that. But actually, I really like that. Not only the way it looks, to be honest, not even about the way it looks. And believe it or not, I don't ever dress or I don't care what other people think about the way I look. The way you look is how you feel. Does that make sense? You should never dress for somebody else, put makeup on for somebody else, do your hair for somebody else. Any of those things. And I think that applies to men and women. You're not here in this earth to impress anybody else, just to make you feel better. Now, if it makes you feel good to put some makeup on, put your makeup on. You don't feel like putting it on, don't put it on. You don't feel like doing your hair, don't do your hair. Be kind to yourself and do what you want to do, because you really, literally, I know I say it quite often and it's a bit of a cliche, but you are the only important one. If you want to put your hair like that, put your hair like that. If you want to shave all your hair off, shave it off. You're not here to impress anybody else. You're only here to make your passage through this life, that we're all going through. You're only here to make your life. You are here as well to help other people. But no, your appearance doesn't do that. Your appearance is all about how you feel comfortable. I always find it sort of fascinating when you hear people that you would look at and think, oh God, they're absolutely gorgeous, or they look perfect, or they're dressed perfectly. And they have quite low self-esteem. And then these people, I've met lots of people, who literally have the highest self-esteem. Maybe they're narcissists, I don't know. But it doesn't matter what they look like or what they say, what they do, what their hair looks like, because their self-confidence comes from inside. And that's good, to be honest, as long as it doesn't turn into narcissism. But, it's good to be confident in yourself and not care, how you feel about yourself should not matter on how you look. It matters on, doing the best you can. I mean, I always think you should look the best you can in the sense of you've got to take some pride in your appearance. As I say, for you, not for anybody else. It's a very difficult one to explain, isn't it? I think in this day and age, we do take people more at face value, don't we? Then it doesn't matter so much what they look like. Years ago, you'd have to look perfect before you'd ever get a job on the telly or anything like that. Now, when I go through my when I go through my Twitter feed, oh my God, I'm like traumatized by the time I come out of it. Sorry, not Twitter, TikTok, because people on there, they really are like real people, and I'm not criticizing them. It's me, It's like, just like sometimes you just think, oh my God, put a filter on, or brush your teeth at least, or wash your hair. But that's not for me to say, is it? I just scroll past it. If they go on there and they want to be real, and their followers like them, it's not for me to judge, is it, whether I think they should brush their teeth or wash their hair, or their foul mouths, and I can swear, as you know, but oh my God, I've never seen anything like, as you're scrolling down TikTok, I don't know if you've ever been on it, the language that's coming out is just like, oh my God, how did they get away with it? Because on YouTube you can't say BLOODY hardly without them chucking you off. So it's quite intriguing, really, to scroll down TikTok and see what you see on there. So yeah, like that one. And I love this because this was just like this. This was just like a teaser, with these. And I love these trainers. I mean, look at them. Pink Nike, lovely. I wish I had a pair. And this was the St. Patrick's Day doll that was made up. So I've got, and this was another doll, another Vicky Marie Chats doll. Oh, and that's got a little mobile and a fan and everything in the boots. And no, this is, I'd love to be able to wear those sort of boots. I haven't got the legs for those sort of boots. But even at my age, I'd quite like to wear them. I do like boots. But yeah, lovely. So I think that's as far as I've got so far with this video. I've put a thank you on the end, I think. Yeah, I've got lots more dolls to upload on there, and I will be doing that, time permitting. Hi, Mello. David's got a lived-in face. Yeah. Well, we've all got a lived-in face, haven't we? You know what I mean? It's like we have lived in it at the end of the day. Do you think that's so true, Bluebell, what you're saying? No one batted an eye. I mean, it wasn't... I mean, I'm sure there were issues for people who wanted to dress like they dressed or do what. I'm sure they had, you know, I'm sure they suffered discrimination and stuff like that. But I think for most sort of, you know, normal people, if that's the right word, they just didn't care. It was a very sort of, it was a real, I think the 80s was a time when people were just so accepting of a lot of things, you know, and I don't remember any of it being an issue, but now it feels like an issue. So you sort of, but of course, maybe it wasn't an issue for me because I wasn't trans. I don't know, you know, maybe if trans people it was. So I don't know. And then it's almost turned into a fashion, like, you know, anyway. I'm not talking about it too much because you get into trouble if you talk about it, don't you? You know, it's such a contentious issue. But yeah, that Boy George, that Culture Club appearance, that was iconic, wasn't it? Because it was really created a massive talking point. And that's what's necessary, isn't it? That people talk about things. You know, and Boy George and other people of that era, they were trailblazers. David Bowie, look at David Bowie. You know, he was another one. There's just so many, you couldn't even mention them. Even if you could go back even further, remember when Elvis, I mean, Elvis is not my era and not my cup of tea, to be honest, really. But he created a big stir, didn't they? All, you know, all these are all things that change the society. Some people would say for better, some people would say for worse, but it's got to be better now, hasn't it? I don't know. Who knows? Okay, so where are we going now? So we've looked at the song. We'll be playing the song again. I'm going to play that on the way out. What I want to look at now are some inspiring stories about health. So yeah, so a lot of people will be watching this because they want some positivity. I know a lot of you out there of all ages, health problems. Health is wealth. That's what they say, isn't it? And it's absolutely true, because do you know what we even see with famous people, rich people? You cannot buy health. You can buy the best treatment for your health problems, but there are some things you just, doesn't matter how much money you've got, you can't cure, it can't be cured. And then for people who are not rich, if you're suffering from the big C or any sort of health problems, it's it's not only the health issue itself that is a problem for you, it's how you cope with it. How do you get to the hospital if you haven't got a car? You know, you have to get in these buses things, don't you, if you're going for chemotherapy over the other side of where you live. You know, and it can take hours to get there because they have to pick up all the other patients. Then they have to come back and drop everybody off again. these financial concerns, because maybe you can't work, or maybe your child's ill. Maybe it's not you who's ill, but your child needs looking after. Who's going to pay the mortgage while you're doing that? There's all these issues, so many issues. So health is wealth, both in the literal sense and the figurative sense. To try and deal with an ongoing. There's so many things we have to deal with in life. So of course it's if you lost a loved one, that's a terrible thing to have to deal with. But if your loved one is ill over a prolonged period, that is even worse in a way, isn't it? Because you've got to cope with it, you've got to look after them, you've got to balance the bills, you've got to try and get on. Maybe you've got other children. You say it's a child, you've got other children you've got to think about, you've got other family, you've got to think about your partner, so apart from the fact your child's ill, or maybe it's you who's ill, and you've got to think about everyone you're holding the family. Maybe you're like one of those people that's like the rock in the family, and then suddenly you're worrying about what's going to happen to everybody else if something happens to you. So real things about health. So we're going to look at some inspiring stories about health, just to make us feel better, because I know these people out there that are suffering from health problems, of my followers, and I know that from the messages that I get and the emails that I get. And to a small extent, to me, the worst thing, touch wood so far, I do suffer from arthritis, and there are days when I have pain and stuff, and other days that are better. And all those things, for me, that's a small thing compared to what some people have to deal with. Some people have to deal with excruciating pain, day in, day out. So I'm specifically talking about health problems now rather than mental health problems. But of course, physical health problems can create mental health problems, can't they? So if you're suffering with that pain day in, day out, of course you're going to get mental health problems, because it's going to affect you in that way. So it's got a huge knock-on effect. So what we're going to look at are just some positive stories about health, a couple that might make you laugh. And let's see. So these are 17 inspiring health stories. Now, they're from 2018, just to let you know, they're not recent. So certain stories made us feel pretty good this year. Hang on, let me just make sure you can see it okay. Yeah, I'm going to go to full screen for a bit. So certain stories made us feel pretty good this year. Some stories were about children. So this was 2018, I think. Some stories were about children or adults who overcame cancer or physical or mental illness, who are now living their best life despite these challenges. So that's something to remember as well, especially if you're younger. Things can be overcome. Now, as you get older, probably things that people have can't be cured, maybe, when you get to a certain point. But you can just alleviate them, either with medication or sometimes just watching a daft podcast like this, finding what makes some things just help you escape, don't they? It might be walking on the beach, or it might be exercise, or it might be might be alcohol, or it might be whatever it is, or going out and socializing. I wouldn't advocate self-medicating with alcohol, obviously, because it can go too far, so I shouldn't say that probably. But a little drink out with your friends and everything, a bit of socializing, going out for a meal, can make you feel better. All these things that distract you, they don't cure necessarily what you're going through, but they just help. Okay, so like it says here, the world is a difficult place to be in sometimes. There were some inspiring stories of people who faced health problems or challenges, had a cool life experience, or underwent groundbreaking surgery, which made us feel a bit better about being in this world. And the thing about surgery is, as well, of course, and the things that they can do now, things that 20, 30 years ago would have floored you. Now even heart surgery, it's like a commonplace, isn't it? All these things that, and we're all scared of surgery. At the end of the day, if tomorrow you had a heart attack and they said, oh, you've got to have a heart, open heart surgery, whatever, you'd be terrified, wouldn't you? But there's a time not that long ago where it'd just be, oh, well, sorry, nothing we can do. So, these are miracles as well in their self, aren't they? The different surgeries that they can do. So this Bat Kid, I don't know if any of you remember this child, but Miles Scott stole everyone's heart as a 5-year-old leukemia patient who took over San Francisco. I always think it's very humbling to see children who have been ill and that, because they do seem to take it in their stride, don't they, bless him. So he took over San Francisco in 2013 as Bat Kid, after he told the Make-A-Wish Foundation that he wanted to be Batman. People crowded the streets to cheer him on after San Francisco was turned into Gotham for a day with the help of late Mayor Ed Lee and 200,000 volunteers. This year, the foundation announced that Miles, who is now 10, well, he's older now, of course, and I did look him up and he's still cancer-free, has been in remission for 5 years. So he is still cancer-free. I looked him up. So that was one good news story. And then there was a story of a nurse. Sorry, one moment. Hello. Hello. Sorry, that was just the big dog coming down. So there was a story of this nurse who realised that the last time she met her new co-worker doctor was when she cared for him as a preemie. Now, what's a preemie? Oh, a preemie was a premature baby, right? Okay. So Brandon Seminatori is a pediatric resident in California and ended up working at the Lucille Packard's Children's Hospital in Palo Alto, the same hospital where he was born decades earlier. And as a preemie, he was born at 29 weeks. He spent more than a month in the neonatal intensive care unit. And a nurse named Vilma Wong, who had worked at the hospital for 32 years, thought his name sounded familiar. And anyway, it was confirmed that she had cared for him when he was born. So that was nice. Then this little girl, Melanie. Melanie lives in Minnesota. Sorry, it's just jumped up there. What a cutie. And she's often stopped by strangers who comment on the toddler's big, beautiful eyes. She won't be a toddler now, of course. She'll be a little bit older. But she has Axenfeld-Rieger syndrome, which is a genetic condition that can cause eye abnormalities and increase the risk of glaucoma, a sight-robbing condition. Oh. So apparently her mum tweeted about her daughter's condition this year, and the tweets went viral. And after that, parents of other children with the condition reached out to her, which has been helpful. Now, I think if you suffer from something rare, it's bad enough when you suffer from anything, of course. But if you suffer from something very rare, it must be very isolating, because you'd be struggling to find anybody else who had the, that could really empathize with the condition that either you or your child had, because it's so rare. Like if you've got arthritis, or even if you've got cancer, there are lots of support groups and things, aren't there? But if you had a very rare condition, like Melanie, this Axenfeld-Rieger syndrome, I've never heard of it, so that's one of the wonders of the internet, isn't it? That you could find other people, maybe there's only a tiny percentage of people suffering from it in your country. So at least with the internet, you can reach out to other people who are suffering, either them or their children, suffering from the same thing, and at least you can be a support to each other. So there's a positive thing about the internet as well, because previously you wouldn't. Which, look, she's a cutie, isn't she? Okay, now we've got this girl. So this woman walked with the help of an epidural stimulator implanted in her spine. So this is, we've got all the almost bionic things coming out now, haven't we? That people that, years ago wouldn't have been able to walk ever, and now they are managing to. All this AI and all the new technology, it's got all this positivity included in it as well. So we sometimes we think the world's not a good place, but there are a lot of good things, aren't there? So this year was this was 2017, I think, or 18. This year was an exciting one when it came to research into treatments for spinal cord injuries that have caused complete paralysis from the chest or waist down. Once told there was no hope they could ever walk again, a handful of paralyzed patients had a treatment, an epidural stimulator implanted in the spine, that seemed to offer a more hopeful prognosis, as reported by at least 3 separate research teams. So there you go. That's good. So Kelly Thomas of Citrus County, Florida, had the implant and training and can now switch on the device and use a walker to stand and take steps around her home. I don't want people to think you can just turn it on and you're good to go. It takes hours and hours of dedication. It's not for the faint of heart. There are days you just want to cry and quit. So she's just being realistic about it there. But, she's managing to walk, which she probably would never have been able to do without this. So now this is 7 years ago. So imagine there's probably been a lot of improvement since then. Where are we? So this little girl, Cara McGowan, another little cutie, look at, oh bless, taught the world about a rare genetic syndrome. She was born with uncombable hair syndrome. Uncombable hair syndrome. Oh my God! I've never heard of that. Have any of you ever heard of that? David, that's you. Uncombable hair syndrome. Sorry, I'm just, yeah. There you go. Oh, her hair looks beautiful. What does it mean? Let's have a look. She has 2 copies of a gene, one inherited from each parent, that changes the shape of the hair shaft and causes fine hair that often stands up straight around her head. Oh. And this condition is also called spun glass hair syndrome. Taylor definitely has the condition, and her parents are carriers. God, there's so many of these sort of rare genetic disorders, aren't there? And the thing is, sometimes you don't know. Sometimes you can have one person with the disorder, the genetic disorder, And that would never, even if they, they could get married and have children, it would never pass down. But then if you get two people with the same disorder, of course, it increases the chances for their children to have it. So some people have pointed and laughed at Taylor's hair, her mum said. The family is hoping to raise awareness of the condition and encourage more tolerance of characteristics in general. Oh, why would they laugh at her hair? It doesn't look... Oh, bless her. I bet there's been some way that they can cope with that now, with all the hair products and everything. Okay, this woman embraced her body, which at one time in her life was a source of depression, because Lorena Bolaños was born with a large congenital nevus, which is a mole that covers a large portion of her body. As a child, classmates made fun of her, and adults thought it was an illness that could make other people sick. Oh, is it? Oh, that I thought that was a shadow when I first looked at it. Gosh, it almost looks like a tattoo, doesn't it? Bless her. Yeah, and you know what? There's people as well who have these things on their face. And the thing is, having something on your face has got to be the worst, because you cannot hide your face, can you? It's like you can hide your body. I mean, the only time that would get shown, I suppose, is if she was at the beach or whatever, or, if it was warm weather and she was dressed more scantily. I literally, when I first looked at that photo, I thought it was a shadow. I didn't realise it was. And then, of course, people tattoo the whole body these days, don't they? But you can imagine, the thing is, when you're at school, children are cruel, aren't they? Everyone, honestly, I hear people talk about being bullied, and I just think, who hasn't been bullied at school? I know some bullying is worse than others. I'm not trying to downplay bullying, because it's a horrible thing. But what I'm trying to say is how cruel children are when you're at school. There's always something, isn't there? I think it's a good idea as well, not only teaching people not to be bullies, obviously, which would be the ideal thing, but I don't know if you're ever going to... I think teaching children how to cope with bullies might be more positive thing to do, because I don't think you'll ever stop people bullying. Children, adults, these bullies that are children, they normally grow up into bullying adults, don't they? And you even go through your work life and everything, you're always going to have bullies. And I think teaching people how to deal with bullies is a good thing as well, not only trying to stop people bullying in the first place, but actually, what to do when you're bullied, how to cope with it, how to react or not react, or who to tell, who not to tell, what to do, what not to do. Because I do think that bullies, unfortunately, it's almost like a part of human nature. It shouldn't be. I'm not saying it should be. I'm saying it. What I'm saying is, I think it's very important to try and teach people how to deal with bullying. Because bullying affects your whole life. If you're bullied at school, people still feel that years later, don't they? You never get over being a bully, do you? Do you know what I mean? It's like, yeah. So in her particular case, I mean, I'm sure this is what she ended up doing, because she's a beautiful girl and she's obviously ended up embracing her uniqueness, if you like, or almost looks like a little sort of shawl over her shoulder as well, doesn't it? Anyway, so she had a photo shoot as part of Underneath We Are Women, which is a project that showcases women of all body types. My objective is that everybody needs to understand that self-acceptance is the first step to achieve happiness. And this is what I mean about teaching people, if you gosh, I don't know about you, I was bullied at school for being overweight. Terrible bullying that I experienced, and at home, to be honest. So, dealing with it or becoming strong against it is important, isn't it? And she's she's accepted herself. Because the thing is, she can't change it, can she? You know, there are some things you can change and some things you can't change. Something like that, unless I don't know if she could have skin grafts or whatever, I don't know. But that's a massive thing to do, isn't it? So whereas if you can just accept that's what you are, you know, at the end of the day, you do have to accept that, don't you? Yes, I'd love to be a couple of inches taller. I'd certainly like to be slimmer, certainly like to have better legs. You know, if I could change anything in my life. But then there's other things that I'm quite happy about in my sort of body and my appearance. So in the end, I've just thought over the years, well, you know, this is what I am. Doesn't matter. This is me. You know, if people don't like me, well, they don't like me, you know. Same with personality as well as physical appearance. Self-love is the most important thing, isn't it? Now, so this mum discovered her baby had Down syndrome during an emotional water birth. You know, this is a very difficult subject as well. There's a lot of tests you can have nowadays to identify. You know, a friend of mine, she had a sister who's Down syndrome. And when my friend finally had a baby, and when I say finally, because she was in her 40s before she had her first baby. Now, her mum, when she had her sister, was not an elder, you know, because normally they associate Down syndrome babies, don't they, with older mums? But her mum, when she had her sister, was not older. She was in her 20s. And it was her second child, I think, who was Down syndrome. And then after that, her mum had my friend who had two other children, I think, who were not Down syndrome. So when my friend was pregnant, because she was in her 40s, you have these tests, or you're offered these tests, and she had one, the amniocentesis test, I think it is, and that was negative. And there was another test, but the other test is more invasive and it can result in you losing the baby. And she had to make a decision. Did she do that or not do that? You know, because if she did it, there was a chance she might lose the baby, but she would find out for definite if her child was Down syndrome or not. But the other thing that worried her was then she had a hell of a decision to make. Because if it came back, you know, if the baby did survive the test, if it then came back that she was a baby, well, it was a boy actually, was Down syndrome, she would have to take that decision then, whether to, you know, terminate that pregnancy. And it's quite far on by the time they do this second test. And the other thing is her sister, who was Down syndrome, older than her, she had, you know, she knew what it was like to live with a Down syndrome child or a Down syndrome sister. She knew the challenges, but she knew also there were a lot of positive things about being Down syndrome. So anyway, to cut a long story short, she decided not to have the test, the second test. She had the first one. She didn't have the second test. And finally, when her baby was born, a boy, he was fine. He wasn't Down syndrome. So she could have took that chance. You know, it's all these quandaries, decisions that we have to take in life, you know, or sometimes some people have to take such difficult decisions. Anyway, so this mum discovered her baby had Down syndrome during an emotional water birth. And she said she knew almost right away her baby had it, because the entire family, including Amber's husband Fernando and the couple's 4 other children, were present during the moving water birth, along with their birth photographer. Oh, I wouldn't want my birth photograph. Oh my God, the thought of there being cameras there, because it's not. Do you know what? It's not very. I mean, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing having a baby, of course. But you know what? It's not the sort of thing really you would want to have on camera, is it? Well, I wouldn't anyway, but there you go. Each to their own. Some people are a lot more public, aren't they? I mean, look at that little babe. Look at his face. Oh, it started flicking up. Don't know why it does this sometimes. I have no idea. It just gets to a point where it doesn't want me to scroll down. No, it just keeps going back to the others. Hang on. Let's see. Anyway, let's go to this girl. So this little girl born without legs was a true warrior queen in this photo shoot. Oh, bless. So La Maria Wador was born with caudal regression syndrome. Do you know what I mean? Half these illnesses, like you've never heard of. You know, they're so rare. A rare condition in which the bones of the lower spine and legs are missing or may be malformed. So she lives in Junction City, Ohio, and this year her mum, Angela Neal, reached out to a photography company that had put a call out for models. And the photographer asked if this would preclude her condition, would preclude her from being in a photo shot. But the images were so fierce, so the photographer decided to take the photos, and they called her the Warrior Queen. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at her photo shoot, if I can go to it. Wow, yeah. She does look like a warrior queen, bless her. I mean, this is what I mean. You always think God when you've got some problems, some health problems, but this poor little girl, and she's, I hope she's coping okay. Sometimes those problems can get worse as you get older. Okay, let's go to this one. This 26-year-old man had one of the fastest recoveries from a face transplant yet. I mean, I found this incredible, the fact that they can do face transplants. But this guy, he had a face transplant 18 months after he was injured from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. So he obviously, at the time hated his life so much he wanted to take himself out of this world. He was not successful. And now he's had a face transplant. Amazing. I hope he's still, all of these, let's include them in the candle because I hope they're all coping. Now, I'm not sure about this one. Let me know what you think about this. I've got mixed feelings about public breastfeeding, really, unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't know. I can't make my mind up. Anyway, this model breastfed while walking the runway. She's one of 16 finalists chosen from a model search from Sports Illustrated Miami fashion show, and she decided to take her breastfeeding 5-month-old along with her on the catwalk. Okay, why not? I don't know what it is. Maybe I'm prudish. I don't know. Not sure. Oh, and that was in... Oh, no, I thought it was in Spain. It wasn't. Okay, we've got another little girl now here coming up. If I can get it to actually go down here. This adorable 6-year-old was all of us going for a run. Evelyn is 6. She lives in Kansas, and she asked her big sister, Serena Salazar, if she would go on a run with her. And she quickly found her run more challenging than she thought and wondered why her heart was beating so fast. She said she felt her heart was crying. Yeah, we all felt, well, I just don't go on a run. Oh, God, here's another breath. I don't think I want to look at that. Sorry, I just don't. What's this? So... This teen turned to the internet for help for her autistic brother's hard-to-treat acne related to his medication. Now, acne is a big thing. That's another thing that children, of course, get bullied about, isn't it? Hi, Mary. Hi, Heather. Hi, Annie. I can't remember. But hi, Moonbeam. Sorry, Sorry, I'm reading the chat now. I haven't read the chat for ages. Yeah, I do think they should teach people how to cope with bullying, because I think it's just, like I say, this guy, this young lad, was bullied for acne. To me, you get bullied, so you've got acne, you're overweight, you've got big ears, got small ears, you've got big nose, your nose is too small, you're fat, you're too skinny. Kids are just awful. And then those things that people say to you, they linger with you, don't they, forever? They do linger, I think. Even if you've been bullied for being overweight and then you lose weight, even if you then become a model or whatever, these things never go, do they? They just never go. Anyway, just things sort of almost, you just have to learn to be tough, don't you? But I know it's easier said than done, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm just saying if there was if in schools, not only trying to stop people bullying in the first place, but some sort of education in how to deal with bullies. Yeah. Well, yeah, Angel, teachers did bully years ago. I mean, I don't know how old you are, but in my generation, yeah, the teachers would say, I've had teachers say things to me and to other people that have been absolutely unacceptable. A teacher couldn't do it now, which is good. Though having said that, teachers can't hardly say anything or do anything now. It's gone to the other extreme like everything else. But yeah, teachers that made comments about students' appearances. Yeah, definitely teachers were just as guilty. And of course, the smacking. I've seen a teacher hit a student over the head with a pencil case. Literally whack them over the head with it. But having said that, I've also seen teachers being assaulted. God, really, when I think about it, schools have always been a little bit, of like mad places, haven't they? I don't know why anybody would want to be a teacher in a school, to be honest. Literally, I take my hats off to them. Same as the police. That's why they can't get good ones sometimes, because the good ones get dispirited. It's very difficult to be a teacher. And you don't have the support of the parents a lot of the time. The parents think their little Johnny is perfect, and anything that goes wrong, it's all your fault, not their fault. Yeah. Yeah, they would use the ruler, even the strap, I mean, when I think about it, really, could you imagine now a teacher telling a child to hold out their hand while they whack them over the hand with a ruler? It's unbelievable now, isn't it, to even think it ever happened, but it did happen. It's not that long ago. And everyone just accepted it. And I'll tell you what, I never went home and said to my parents, my teacher said this or did this today, because they'd just say, what did you do? You know what I mean? They wouldn't care. That was the way it was. And I'm not saying it was right. I'm just saying how it was. So my parents they would have just said, well, what did you do to deserve that? They would have always stuck up for the teacher, wouldn't they? Yeah. Oh, Mary, unfortunately, it's a fact. Religious schools are the worst. There's all that sexual frustration, isn't there, with nuns and priests and things. I think that's got a lot to do with it, personally, with that. Okay, so let's go back to this. Is there any I haven't read? Oh, so So he's non-verbal and he takes medication that has caused him to have painful acne for years. Well, surely there's something else they could give him. But anyway, never mind. Yeah, I'm not sure about all these medications either as well. So people immediately, she went on Reddit. His sister went on Reddit to ask people if they knew any solutions. And she said she was blown away with the response and came up with a new routine to help her brother's skin. And she hopes that people will be better able to see him for who he really is. I want to see in the long run if his acne improves if people see him more. So acne is not only for autistic people. Acne is. I had a sort of brief period maybe where I had quite a few spots, but to be honest, I've been very lucky in that aspect. This is what I mean. Everyone has something different, don't they? My thing has always been like a weight thing, up and down with weight. And, that's always been sort of my thing, but I never really had a problem with acne. But of course, a lot of teenagers do have a problem with acne because that's the time when whether you're autistic or not, whether you're taking medication or not, when you're a teenager, all the hormones and everything create all this excess of grease, don't they, in your skin and that. So lots of teenagers have acne. But I do think that the teenage, I had one friend at school, I remember she had terrible, terrible acne. I mean, it was awful, really such a shame. So she did get teased from that. When I think about my circle of friends, we were all really nice to each other, I mean, we were. We didn't take the mickey out of each other in my circle of friends. I had quite a large circle of friends when I was at school. But of course, there were people who did, take the mickey out of everyone. But I remember this particular friend with the acne problem. She had her hair. She grew her hair so she could put her head down. Her hair would cover her face because she didn't want. But of course, that made it worse because you need to get the sun on your skin, don't you, if you've got acne and that. But yeah. I don't think it's such a problem actually with young people here in Spain. That could be because of the sun, Just thinking about that, I don't know that. That's just something that's occurred to me. I'm just thinking about, like my son never really had acne. He never really suffered from acne. And I can't think of any of his friends who suffered from acne. So maybe that is something that can be just helped anyway by just getting out and getting some exposure to the air. And sun, maybe a sun ray lamp or whatever, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going off the point here. So let's see, is there any that I haven't talked about yet? Oh, look at these two. Oh, these twins immediately stopped crying as soon as they touched each other again. Oh, now we've talked quite a lot about twins lately, haven't we, for one thing or another. So Weston and Caleb Lyman were born in February 2018 and pretty much became internet famous right away. That's because as soon as they were born, they were separated to be weighed. And they started crying as newborns sometimes do. Sorry, it's just flicked up again. Can you imagine if you'd been in the womb for 9 months, all cuddled up, all comfy, it's all nice, warm, and you've got someone to cuddle because you've got a twin. So you're not even in there on your own. So not only your mum's probably cuddling your tummy, cuddling their tummy, and people are cooing over you and making a big fuss while you're in your mum's tummy. But as well, you've actually got somebody to cuddle up to because you've got your twin, and then they yank you out. And then they take you away from each other, to be weighed. Of course, you're going to kick off big time, aren't you? That must feel awful. Must feel awful, that. So in a video, their dad, Dane Lyman, posted to Facebook, the twins immediately stopped crying as soon as they touched each other again. Oh, let's have a look. Oh, look, let's see. Oh, it's not working. I don't want to share it. I want to see it. These things, they never work. Of course, it has been a few years, so don't know if that video is even still up there. Try one more time. So the dad apparently posted this. Our twin boys comforting each other shortly after birth. One of our greatest hopes when we found out we were having twins was that as they grew, they would be good friends and support one another. Oh, it says to use this video in a commercial player or in broadcast, you have to email him and ask him for permission. Okay, fair enough. Okay. Oh. So that's sweet, isn't it? Right, number 17. This 27-year-old died of cancer but wrote a letter so moving. She helped many other people learn how to live every day. In January, 27-year-old Holly Butcher posted a list of life lessons to Facebook a day before she died of cancer. 27, she had Ewing sarcoma. Ewing sarcoma, a rare type of bone or soft tissue cancer that mostly affects younger people. There again, another, illness that we've never heard of. So you can read a letter in it. Let's see if I can read it. Might be too long. Well, rest in peace, Holly. I can't read all that on here, unfortunately. But anyway, I hope you're at peace. I hope you're at peace. Bless. It's a very long letter. I'll just show you. You can find it. It's Holly Butcher. You can find it on Facebook if you want to read it. Bless her. Okay, let's go back to this. I think that might be the last one. I think that's it. Yep. So some positive health stories. Health is wealth. We're just saying, Heather, at the end of the day, it's only when you lose your health, if you like, for whatever reason. I mean, sometimes you lose your health just temporarily because you're ill or because you've got a temporary illness or you've got to have an operation or bless you, like it's not always a permanent thing, that you get ill. Sometimes it's just something that you have to get through, isn't it? So, but you don't appreciate, I always think you don't appreciate how healthy you are until you're ill, if that makes sense. Sometimes you have little aches and pains. Oh, this little, this say little, she's not little, the German Shepherds lay down at the side of me. You sort of think, I've got a little tweak in my knee, or, got a little pain in my elbow or whatever, I've got a headache. And then when you really fall ill, it's like, woof, I touch wood. I am rarely, ill. Rarely. I rarely get colds even. But occasionally I do. And, you just get, but cold is nothing. But I can't remember, touch wood, the last time I had flu or anything sort of serious like that. Because flu can knock you out, can't it? I can't really remember having that for ages. But I've got a lot of aches and pains. Especially when it's humid. It's the humidity here in Spain that gets you, whether it's hot, whether it's sort of damp through the cold, or in the summer it's quite humid from the heat. And that can make you sort of affect your mobility. But yeah, generally, I know some people have to live with illness day in, day out, and also illnesses that aren't going to get any better. So, yeah, chronic, that's it, chronic health conditions. The only thing that I've ever come anywhere close to really is I did have, before I gave up smoking, I realised that I had chronic bronchitis. So every year, at least once, I would get bronchitis. But when I gave up smoking, that's gone. I never get bronchitis now. Again, touch wood, dedos cruzados, fingers crossed. Might get a little cough, or I might get, but it never develops into bronchitis. And I can remember it being so severe, I literally thought I was going to die. So I just could not get my breath. That bronchitis was so severe, and I would just get it regularly. Every time I got a cold, it would turn into bronchitis, and that was because of smoking. And I know that now because I don't smoke now, and I never get bronchitis. Oh, hi, PR3. Predator Hunters, Indiana. Hi, Cherish Your Sparkle. That's a nice. So Cherish Your Sparkle has cervical stenosis and a spinal injury. Learning how to do life all over again. Yeah. There's people out there with these conditions, chronic conditions, just getting up in the morning, putting one foot in front of each other, in front of another, and just getting on with it. That's all you can do, really, isn't it? It's appreciate every moment. I expect some days are better than others for those of you out there with chronic conditions. There's so many of them, isn't there? It's just like, but the other thing I was thinking, when you look how complex a human body is, all the things that can go wrong with it, it's a wonder more things don't go wrong with it, really, isn't it? I mean, it's like this really intricate sort of, and you take it for granted when it's all working correctly, especially when you're young, don't you? You just take it all for granted. You smoke, you go out, you get drunk, you take drugs, maybe you do whatever. You don't ever, your body, you don't realize that your body is, you think your body's invincible, and it sort of is when you're young for a lot of people, isn't it? You can go out and drink loads or whatever and just have 2 hours sleep and still get up for work the next morning. Of course, as you get older, you can't do all those things the same, and then other illnesses come in, like, say, you might have a heart problem, you might have arthritis, it might be bones, it might be muscles, it could be, I don't know, diabetes, or what other sort of illnesses. So all these illnesses that come up as you get older. Fibromyalgia is a common illness for people that can floor people. So many. So what we're doing today is we're just trying to think of, positivity. Hey, Admit, I'm going to play you your song. Oh, Cherish, you were a bodybuilder. Yeah. I think we all go through, I can remember a time where I used to be a lot more healthy. I was a vegetarian just before I had my son many, many years ago. I was a vegetarian, not a vegan, a pescatarian, really. I did eat fish. I was going to the gym. I was doing exercise. That was probably the healthiest. In my 30s was probably the healthiest I've ever been. I've never really quite got back to it. But you never know. I might do one day. Right, let's have a look at our little prayers that we play. I'm going to play it again in a minute, Admit. Thank you so very much. I absolutely adore that song. We all love it. Oh, look, the dog's coming to say hello. Hello, baby. Hello, baby. I don't know if you can see her or not. I don't think you can, no. I'm going to say a couple of little prayers, as we do, and then I'm going to finish off. I might be back later. So it's Sunday today. I hope you're all going to have a brilliant Sunday. Some of you might be coming to the end of your Sunday, depending on where you are in this crazy world. Others will be just starting off on your Sunday. So one of these prayers is about health specifically. Anyway, Hope you'll join me in these prayers. May I cultivate harmony within myself, balancing my thoughts and emotions, and let this inner harmony reflect in my actions and interactions with others. Amen. Sorry, I'm just smiling to myself because I wasn't obviously thinking about that the other day when I shouted some not very nice words out to somebody who cut me up when I was in the car. So this is my road rage. For me, it's terrible. I try to be really sort of nice to other drivers, but sometimes they just... Anyway, so I've got to remember that one especially. Now this, I'm quite good at gratitude. I think that's one of... I do wake up every morning and thank God just for waking up, coming down, and just the simple things, you know, sorting out my coffee, having my breakfast. I'm always grateful. I do think I'm quite good at that. Help me to cultivate a mindset of gratitude. Let me see the good in every situation and be thankful for the lessons learned. Amen. So as I say, these prayers that I've chosen that we say, you know, it's not a religion thing. It doesn't matter what religion you are. You can still, these things are thoughts that anyone can have. It doesn't matter if you're praying to God, to Christ, to Allah, to Buddha, whoever you're praying to the universe, just for the eternal spirit. You know, I don't want this Sunday service to be a thing about religion. It's about good thoughts, whatever religion you are, or, you know, just we're human beings at the end of the day. And religion is a secondary choice that people make. But the first thing we are human. Even in difficult times, may I find reasons to be thankful. Let my gratitude be a source of strength and hope. Amen. May the light of healing surround me, bringing comfort to my body and peace to my mind. So this is appropriate, especially to what we're talking about today. So I'm praying healing for all of you out there that need it, you know, and just have to keep going. And all our positive thoughts are with you all. And I know that doesn't make things better, but just it does feel better knowing that people are thinking about you and the problems you're going through. And you know what? You're special. If you're going through those things and keeping going, you know, you're strong. And most of us, we just have to think, even when we're suffering, we have to think about people who rely on us. And you know what? They're the real heroes in this world. The people that keep going because they've got people that rely on them. Or just because maybe they've got animals that rely on them. Or maybe it's just because they, you know, they're all they've got. You know, they've got nobody else to do it for them. So may the light of healing surround me, bringing comfort to my body and peace to my mind. Let this light guide me through pain and restore my strength. Amen. Oh, and this, again, to me is very important. Help me to trust my inner compass. Let my intuition be strong and my decisions be aligned with my true self. It's very important to trust your intuition. You know, I've learned over the years, my intuition, it's rarely wrong, but I still find it difficult to trust it. I don't know why. You always think, oh, not sure. But you're normally right. If something doesn't feel right, you're right. So we, to whoever your higher power is, we come before you with open hearts, seeking solace and understanding in a world that often feels overwhelming. And it does get overwhelming, doesn't it, sometimes? Though we may not follow a specific religious path, we yearn for your presence and guidance in our lives. Grant us the strength to face our challenges with courage and the wisdom to make decisions that bring peace and harmony. Help us to find compassion in our hearts for others, but not twonks. There's the chihuahua. Hey, come here. That's the chihuahuas arrived. So yeah, we Stop it. We find compassion for some people, but not for twonks. We don't have any compassion for twonks. Anyway, so help us to find compassion in our hearts for others and act with kindness in all that we do. Now stop it. You've been good so far. And this, very important, may I find strength and joy within myself, and may I approach each day with a heart open to the good. I am grateful for the present moment and the opportunity to learn and grow. I choose to focus on the positive, to find beauty in the ordinary, and to cultivate a spirit of resilience and optimism. You know, every day can't be a great big fiesta, can it? Some days are sort of boring, if you like, in the routine. You get up, get ready, you work or whatever you do in your day. You watch the telly, you go to bed. Some days are like that, but you know what? There's a peace in that, isn't there? You shouldn't wish for any. Sometimes an exciting life is not always a good life. Do you know what I mean? May I be a source of light and kindness for myself and those around me, and our animals, of course. Okay, so that's our prayers that we've said. We've talked about. I know. Shh. I think it's about the right time to finish. Stop it. Stop. When Coco comes out, it's always a nightmare. I feel like that Chihuahua's been alive for about 300 years. Do you know what I mean? It's like, how long does a dog live? I mean, not that I want anything to happen to him. I literally do not mean that, because he's a lovely little dog. Have a great day, Mary. It's a lovely little dog, but oh my God, just like, and then of course gets my big dog going. Okay, let's have the song, and I'm going. I will see you maybe later today. If not, I'll see you soon, as always, in the next video. Oh, but I'm going to play the song on the way out. And yeah, till I see you again, thank you so much for watching. And may your God always go with you. So let's have a look at this song. Thank you so much. Oh, God, the dog's knocking everything over now. What are you doing? What are you doing? Go away. Right, let's find the song. I'm going to play the song, then I'm going to play the dog video, and then I'm going to finish. So thank you so much. Love you all so much. I really appreciate all your support. Thank you.
Oh, Vicky Maria, so bright, so bright. Your YouTube world is the purest gold. With every video, fresh and new, you light my days with joy so true. Oh, Vicky Maria, your voice, your charm, your spark, your flair, keep me glued beyond compare. From laughs to lessons, all you share. No other channel shines so rare. The comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to you, for all the fun and wisdom too. Creating, stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game. The comments buzz, your fans agree. We're all here for your energy. A loyal crowd, you're ahead of the game. So here's my thanks from me to for all the fun and wisdom to keep creating. Stay the same. Vicky Marie, you won the game. Yeah, creating. Stay the same. Vicky Marie, you've won the game.